my life matters.
We always talk about white people killing black people, but we don't talk enough about black on black crime. We kill each other.
My life matters.
Kansas City is different.
Stuff can happen at a moment.
My life matters.
Say if somebody made me mad, I do the first thing that comes to my mind.
My life matters.
We just go and just retaliate now or just get revenge on anything.
My life matters.
I mean, we've got about 170 homicides already in the city this year.
My life matters.
I saw the news, and an 11-year-old girl was shot and killed, and that's all I saw.
What is going on, everybody? Gary B. Jr. here, and I'm excited to be here with you guys. We have another Free Show Friday going on. Let me clear out my my slide text there. Let's see here. Here we go. And let me update that. Hold on. I had some NDI issues with my computer, and I'm still having them, but I was able to get it working good enough for today, at least. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day, having a great time. I am super excited to be with you guys. Let me see something here. So we got the top screen. Let me update that as well. All kinds of little stuff going on. There we go. So that's what it should look like. All right. I'm Gary B. Jr., your media consultant. I'm here to help answer questions, but also to have some good conversations with you guys about Free Show. So as I put in the chat, please make sure to be thinking about what is the most creative thing that you have done or want to do with Free Show. We got Brian from Michigan in, and he's talking about, he just got done doing some gardening. Big shout out to gardening with Brian. It sounds like a podcast or a TV show or a YouTube channel or something. Gardening with Brian. You got to try that. He's got some tomatoes and flowers everywhere else. All right, sweet. Well, I'm excited. Like I said, I'm interested in seeing what today brings, because there's a lot of stuff going on with Free Show. If I had to give it a title, it is Crazy Creative Free Show, right? And so I don't know if you all keep up with ways to do, or what Free Show is doing on the back end in terms of what we see on Reddit, what we see on GitHub and things like that. But that is some of the things we're going to talk about today. And I'm excited about what I'm seeing. I had to downgrade from the 1.49 beta 2 to the 1.48 just because I hadn't tested it with my live stream stuff. But I've been playing with that all week with the beta 1, and then the beta 2 just came out, I think, yesterday. So all that to say, a lot going on, but I'm super excited about what Free Show has to offer. Let me know if you guys are experiencing any choppiness or anything like that. On my end, I'm seeing it look like it's choppy, but I could be wrong. But we'll see. We shall see. Let's talk about what's happened so far this week. Let's go to YouTube, and let's go to Gary B. Jr. We'll say Free Show. All right, let's see here. This brings us to the page. And this week, just a couple of videos have come out. And these videos, I believe, are pretty impactful. But let me see something. I'm having an internet issue. Let me check my settings real quick. I'm getting a lot of dropped frames. Let's see something. Stream output. I got my hardware encoder set up. That's fine. The recording is there. Let me do this. Let me pause that. Let me stop recording and see if that helps anything. But I do see that it's showing that it's choppy. I got Broken But Believing says, hi there. Thanks for always being here to help. I have an issue. Every time I close Free Show, everything deletes, even if I save it before I exit. That can be a problem. I'm sorry to hear that. We definitely got to dive into that. We definitely got to dive into it. After I figure out this streaming issue, let me see what's going on here. Let me know if you guys can hear me now. Is it any better? Would be my first question. Is it still choppy, or is it any better right now? I saw Brian say that it's choppy. And if I go through, I'm going to try refreshing my page real quick. Let's see what the signal level is. Yeah, still looking like it's had a problem, but it looks a little smoother on my end. Does it look smoother on you guys' end? Let me know. Let me know. Before I go forward, I want to make sure to check that out. And so right now I'm seeing that it doesn't look like I'm dropping as many frames. which is good. And I don't have much active or running. I'm just checking my screens here. Let's see here. It's not receiving enough data than such viewers will experience. Okay, SBU Media says it's much better now. That's what I want to know. I'm still seeing a poor error on my end, like the signal is poor, but is it right? Big L says it's smoother. It's smoother, but it was coming from something pretty bad. Is it right or is it just better? And it's just not right yet still. That's what I want to know. Let me know, is it right? I'm curious. And it looks smoother on my end, but like I said, I'm still getting this error message on YouTube, which is interesting to me. If I do a speed test, let me see what my speed is looking like. See, my download is good. It's looking right. And my upload is looking right. Well, good enough at least. I'm getting about 4750 down. Okay, so he's saying it's perfect. All right, we'll be able to go forward then. So maybe it was me trying to record and it just took a load on my computer. I don't know. I've got them both set to hardware, which I usually have it. I have it set to hardware encoding on my Apple, but maybe I need to do some software versus the hardware on one and then do the hardware on the other. We'll see. We're going to come back to broken, but believing. Let's see here. Obi1 says, hi everyone. Thank you for the great job. After I updated from 148 to 149, it just crashed in the middle of Sunday service. No, don't do it. 149 is still in beta, right? And so what I would recommend is that whenever there's a beta, do not use it for a live service unless you run through your entire live service beforehand safely. Like you can literally check it out. That's what, for me today, for example, I had 149 beta 2 that I've been using since yesterday, I guess, and playing around with it, maybe since the day before, whenever it first came out. And I started my live stream and I realized, oh, I forgot, I need to back up. So I actually went back and downloaded 148 and actually I'm running 148. So some of the stuff that I did this week, even I did in 149. So the video that you guys are seeing now, the game show video, I made that in 149 beta 1, but I wasn't doing anything live. It was just recording. So it was fine. But I had to downgrade from that. So I can't even show you guys how to do that real time because I was using a beta for it. I'm sorry that happened, Obi-Wan. That is definitely a challenge to be careful of. And that's with any software, whether it's a video editing software, even, I don't know if ProPresenter does betas or not, but ProPresenter has its own bugs and things like that the users are well aware of and used to seeing. But to be honest, I'm used to FreeShow being pretty solid over the last, I would say since the last 4 or 5 months now. It's been very solid for me overall, and I'm grateful for that. But what I would say is always use the full release as opposed to any beta releases for your real-time meetings, okay? Or real meetings, I should say, unless you can run through it all the way without any hiccups beforehand. All right. So the game show video, that one was a fun one. This is kind of these both are kind of springboarding what the theme is for today. It's about creativity, right? How can we creatively use FreeShow with the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, with the ways that we serve and so forth and so on. And so maybe it's for a business, maybe it's for a school or your ministry or the church that you attend. Game shows can be fun. That's all I can say. Game shows can be really fun, right? You can use them to do Bible quizzes. You can use them to quiz. If you're a teacher, you can use them to spark engagement in a lobby view video, in terms of if you work in a government agency or something like that, and you've got just screens around the building. Quizzes are always fun. People will always engage with the quiz to challenge their knowledge. And so that is something that in the 149, that's yet to be released. The beta is out, but the 149 full is going to have options for you. In this video, I show you exactly how you can do it real simply, and it's a really cool feature to me. Like it's really sweet. And it's in the variables option that you set this up, and you can put all that information in there with your question, all your answers, and then it'll automatically sift and sort through those and you can make an action and make it automatically go through, which is really cool. The other video that came out was the iPad video. So, and this is so funny because since I released this just 2 days ago, the very next day there was an update that changed a lot of the things that I ran into that were a problem on that. So the betas, like I said, 149 is going to be crazy creative and cool, but the 149 beta fixes any of the issues I ran into with this in terms of even showing just local Bibles. You will be able to see both API and local Bibles, I believe. I think I tested it out last night, and even being able to navigate through your Bibles to go back to a different version of the Bible. Like I might have been in NASB and I wanted to go to the King James. I had to refresh my browser on my screen and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about that anymore. So that is something that I'm really excited about. And yeah, that's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. It looks like things have steadied out on my end, and the drop frames are decreasing. So I'm good with it being the way it's set up, hopefully. And hopefully you guys are good with it as well. We got some new art. I just noticed, I looked back at my picture. I put a picture up behind me here. The history behind that picture, me and my wife made that after in our second year of marriage. We had like a couples retreat that we set up for ourselves. It was a couples retreat that stayed in house. We stayed home and we just got some materials and did an activity together where we just kind of made some art, and we made like 3 of those. So that was one that we didn't have a place for it in our apartment. So I put it up in my office here. So it's kind of cool. So you'll be seeing that more often, just FYI. Now, going back to a question that was asked by Broken But Believing. They said, "Hi there. Thanks for always being there being here to help. I have an issue. Every time I close FreeShow, everything deletes, even if I saved before. My question is, where are you saving everything in FreeShow? Right? Is it being saved to like an external drive or something?" And so the reason I ask, let's go into FreeShow. If you go to your settings, and I'm in 148, all right, 1.4.8. If I go to files, so the data location that I have, I've got everything going to my documents folder, and I made a folder in there called Free Show. And then I've got another folder called Free Show / shows that I have my shows going. The question I would ask you is, where is this set up on your computer? Where is your data location at? Because it seems like it could be something that's not online, or not online, but not connected to your computer, right? And maybe you had it going through a thumb drive or an external hard drive or something that's not connected anymore. Or maybe it was on a cloud drive, like not cloud, but a network drive that has gotten disconnected. Maybe the IP address changed or something like that. I don't know, right? So I'm not going to say I know. Something I never talked about real quick. If you guys want to, I don't know what they call it, but the level ups on the chat, I don't have anything for it, but I see that there, and I don't know what it does. Like I said, if you guys have ever done that, let me know. With I see a little revenue thing. I don't know how it works, but it says show your support for Free Show with Gary B. Jr. If you want to do that, feel free. I'm just curious how it works. I don't know. Has anybody ever done that? Like made a donation during a live stream? Because I only see that on my live streams, but I'm just curious. Just a side note. So that would be my question, Broken But Believing. Let me know what this says when you go to your settings and look at the files. Where's it? What's the data location? All right. As for Obi-Wan, like I said, we talked about that. Always use the full latest complete version. Never use the betas, unfortunately. I'm sorry that happened. It says there's a save option if you click on files. Yep, I see files. And there's an auto save, right? So I've got mine set to 15 minutes, and then auto backup, it does it daily. Save user settings at the data location that I have on. But do you have the data location? Is that on your computer? Is more specifically what I want to make sure of. Is the data location on your computer? All right. And I should be putting this up. We're in the Q&A time, and I didn't even do that. Sorry about that, you guys. Let's see here. Will that show up? Oh, I got it disabled. There we go. And that is not what we're talking about. Let me update my stuff. You guys can see how I do it real time. So to update my topic, I forgot to update the title. And let's go here. Free show. Here we go. It should be saying crazy creative. All right. Boom. All right. And so today we're talking about getting creative with FreeShow. What is one of the most creative things that you all use FreeShow to do? I talked about the iPad. I talked about the game shows. What do you use FreeShow for creatively? And we're going to start with a beginner level topic in my mind, at least. And so what I would say is a really cool way to use FreeShow creatively. And forgive me, you guys. I usually work out in the morning, so I'm done working out, but I'm still trying to cool off in my office. I have to close the door so it doesn't get as good airflow, but we make it work. But templates around your backgrounds. This is something that's really cool, and I think a lot of you are already doing this. So let me know if you're doing this, and I'm going to show you an example of it. Let's see here. Obi-Wan is from UK. Hey, welcome. Let's see here. And then I'm just looking at the chat here real quick. I only lose shows the media are on my computer. Okay, where are your shows at? So going back to the settings, going back to that real quick. Where are your shows on files? Where's your show location? Is that on the computer as well? Because I've got mine literally in the same place as my data is inside of that folder, and I just called it shows. Where is yours? And then Brian says, an observation, your pre-show music is considerably louder than the actual show audio level. Yeah, that's interesting. And I think I know what might have caused that. I can look at my, no, I know. In FreeShow, I think I turned the volume up the other day. I turned it all the way up to 100, and I think it was way down, and I thought it was something wrong. So that's on me. I apologize for that, Brian. Let me see here. Live stream, new intro songs. Is it this one? Yeah, it's the shorts. Okay. So if I go here, playlist volume, it's set to 100. So no, I don't think that was it. It might be what I did in OBS then, because in OBS it looked like it was pretty loud as well. So I have to look into that. I'm not sure. It was more of a it may have been this. I take that back. It may have been this volume level over here that could have caused it, because I think this was down to like 18 actually. And I don't remember what it was at, and I thought it may have done that when I did the upgrade and so forth and so on. So it could be me. I apologize for that, but yeah, we'll figure it out. And I've been doing some testing with some other stuff, so that's potentially the problem as well. Let's see here, Daniel B. Hello everyone. What's going on, Daniel B? And then Neville. I can't say it. Imlobane. Greetings from South Africa. Greetings, my friend. Tony Mobley in the house, my man. Welcome to the show. And Tony Mobley's from Georgia. I know that much. So welcome, Mr. Tony Mobley. And then losing the shows, it would depend on going back to what Broken was asking about. Broken But Believing is saying they've been losing their shows every time they close it out. Check and see where that file is that you got set to show location. That's the most important thing when it comes to just losing your shows. Check that out and see where it's going. And then click on this little icon and it'll actually take you into that folder, right? And so, and it should show you what you're looking at. And I got mine's popped up on my other screen, but it'll show you exactly where your files are going, because that is weird and that's unfortunate. You don't want that to happen. And I guess too, did anything change right before it happened? Do you recall any changes that you had? And I say drastic, but any changes, right? They don't have to be drastic, but any unique changes you made will play into that as well. But with that being said, going back, templates around your backgrounds. This is something that's really cool. And you probably did this if you've used PowerPoint or you've used Keynote. You may have done this. I think for me, a lot of people, I think I've seen the trend where people are using it a lot more and doing it with Canva. But what I would say is something like this, right? To where your users would see something like that. Let me see here. Will that show up? all right, to where I found this image, okay, and I really like the image, but I found it in Pixabay. I think I found it in, let's see here. Let me see what this looks like. And I'm gonna turn off my my slides on my live stream. I don't really need those for you guys. So let's go here. Now, cool thing, I can right click on this over here and I can just go to edit and it'll take me there. And then I can go to this one set to that. I can edit that as well. And I can turn off slides and it goes off. I love that. All right. So, but this particular show, I found the image going into my media, and this is an online image. And I went to Pixabay and I just typed in David and Goliath. And Goliath. And it had all these different images. And I found one. I really liked that one. So I selected it and I dragged it onto my show. But then what I decided to do is I said, I'm gonna make a template though that's gonna have that same feel, kind of that brown feel to it, and have the room for the verse that's gonna be right there in the bottom corner where it's really dark, right? To where it kind of flows with the image and not interferes with the image. And like I said, this is not something new, but I want to encourage for those that are beginners, this is a really cool way that you can do this. And so what I did was I said, okay, I'm gonna make a template. So I went to my templates and I found one of them that I like. I like this big here, and I actually duplicated it. And I could have duplicated any of my other ones that I have. And these are just ones that I made. Big back box 2, and then this is a 2-2. This is the one I made. And what I did is I right clicked and I edited the actual template that I made. And I just made it to where I lifted up everything. So I dragged this box up higher and I centered it because the way that those mountains are on there, if you notice here, they kind of come down to a center point. So I wanted everything to be that way, but I didn't want it to touch any of that there. So I just kind of felt it out and just kind of moved it. And then I moved my scripture reference over to the right and down. So it's all the way down to the bottom, but it flows with the image quite a bit, right? So it flows in the flow of the image, while this flows with the image with the colors. This color here is pretty close to the color there. And I use that. Now, I saw some really cool stuff on Facebook. A lot of the users there in the group are using some really cool features, where I saw one that had like a triangle slant thing that they made, and then they put all their other text in that same format. But it looks like the text that they have for the title page was probably coming from like a Canva design or something like that, or maybe a PowerPoint slide. I'm not sure, but they use that same background in FreeShow. Now, if you want to create your shows in PowerPoint, there's nothing wrong with that, because you might like the flexibility, or you're more familiar with it, more comfortable with it. I get that. If you want to make them in Canva, you're more familiar with it, you think it's more flexible, I agree. I do think that those platforms are more flexible for doing more with editing images and editing text and all that kind of stuff. But what you can do is, because the thing about FreeShow to me that makes it the most powerful over those, not is because it has more design features, but because it has more robust features after you're done with the design that include the production and all those kind of things. So I would just keep your background and then make a template in FreeShow, so that when you put your text in, when you put your scriptures in, or your slide notes, or whatever it is, you can use a template from FreeShow to fit into that background. And you don't have to put all your slides and make them all in Canva. You just make the background in Canva and bring that into FreeShow as a media item, and then work with the templates that you have. So now you can have this dynamic flow, this production flow with FreeShow. This to me is so important. It's so important that you use FreeShow for what it is, and it is a production software mixed with ministry software, mixed with PowerPoint creation, slide creation, mixed with lyrics and scriptures and Bible collections and all this stuff. So it's a conglomeration. I say that a lot, and I'm going to continue to say it, especially for the beginners, to understand what you're getting into. When you get FreeShow, you're not getting a PowerPoint replacement, right? You're getting a production replacement, which you may not have ever had. You just may have only used PowerPoint, and it serves a really good purpose. It just doesn't allow you to have dynamic Bible scriptures. It doesn't allow you to have the outputs that you need to have different things show up on different places in different ways. And so it adds to what PowerPoint can do. And you can still intermingle some of what you use in PowerPoint in terms of the backgrounds or the layouts, in terms of the set design. And then you just export the background image from that design, right? And then you use that as your background for FreeShow, and you just make a template around it. Now, I could have easily put that background into my template if I wanted to. Okay, I could have taken this David and Goliath and put it into my template. I didn't. I just dragged it onto the actual show because it's just that's what the way my brain is wired. It's simpler for me to do it that way, and so I'm used to doing that. But that's my take on it. Is that I would just drag it on because this saves to the show. It saves this template, and it saves that background. So I don't really feel the need to make a template that has that because I might want to use this template for another image, and I can do that and just switch the background out, right? So I don't have to worry about the backgrounds. To me, they live with the show. They don't live with the template. I always make my backgrounds live with each show that I make. And then my templates are universal. I can use those with any show that I want. All right. Let's see here. Brian Richards says, I haven't done that, but I would like to insert Bible quiz questions in between our pre-service announcements, similar to what you might see at a movie house preview. Yes. That was something that I was planning to do that not years ago because I've been doing this for years, but months ago I really wanted to start doing that. And I actually, my wife started a channel, which is so funny. I was looking at this. What she did was she made a channel called Word Up Bible Quizzes that have like videos. These are like, let's see, this one's 8 minutes long. This one's 7 minutes long. This one's 7 minutes long as well. But what I talked to her about, I was like, maybe we can do something that takes some of these questions because she's made some unbelievable questions. And I think each of them have like 10 or 12 questions with it. And it's voiced over and everything with a real voice, not an AI voice. I say unfortunately, but fortunately to me, that it adds some originality. And she's even got shorts in here. And I don't know if we can embed shorts into FreeShow. But if you could, you can do it because she puts each question in separately. So she's got a whole list of Bible questions that you can just insert as a YouTube video if you wanted to. And that's just the Word Up Challenge. Let me see if I can copy that out. I'll copy that out and put that in as a YouTube. Well, I'll put it in here from here. Let's see. And you guys can check that out for inspiration and or just inserting the whole show into your free show. So let me put that in the chat. And I looked that up and I didn't know why I was looking that up this before I started the show, but that was something. I'm glad you brought that up, Brian. So you guys can use FreeShow. So the 149 beta, right? The beta 1 and beta 2 obviously will have it. They've got a new feature in the variables that allows you to, let me make sure you guys are seeing this, that allows you to go into your variables and you can create a new variable and you'll get another option here that I think it says like A+ or something like that. Like it's a series of different things. And so for me, I love it because you can make, 10 or 12 questions. They all have the same format. And so when you make your template, which you'll see in that video, that game show video, you make your template, just make them all dynamic values and it'll automatically change in your show and each slide that you want to show up on. It's crazy cool. Like I said, crazy creative and crazy cool. Okay. So that's one beginner feature is using your images. So find a background, find an image that you like on Canva, in Pixabay, in Unsplash, from the media section here. Find an image. Like if let's say you like the way this image looks and you want all the text to be right here on these mountains, right? Just in that section, then you would make a template that fits that. So let's do something like that real quick, just to show you guys what I mean. So I'm gonna do a new show and I'm just gonna call this a test show. Let's call it backgrounds and templates. If I can spell it right. All right. And I'll keep this. I won't put it in FreeShow Friday. Let's see. I need to make a new thing called training. And I thought I did. Oh, here we go. Training test. Perfect. All right. We'll do quick lyrics. And I'm going to say test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. All right. And I'm just going to say create this show. And I've got the text there. And you'll notice here, it looks like my last template that I was using, which is the one with David and Goliath. So everything went in there in that particular format, which makes complete sense. But I want to use this media background. So I'm going to drag this up, right? And right now it's not fitting in that spot that I want. I want it over here. And then I want this all to stay like it is. So what I need to do is I need to go to my templates and I'm going to duplicate this one. Actually, yeah, I'll duplicate this one just because it's simpler. So I'll just say duplicate here. And now I've got it. And what we'll do is select it. And that's the one that's showing now. All right. But I'm going to edit it. So I want to edit it and I want to make it be kind of like white text, because I think that'll show up better on that particular scene. And then I'm going to move everything over and down just a bit. If I can get that. There we go. So somewhere around here, maybe I'm just eyeballing where I remember seeing those mountains, right? And so we got that. And then this is the scripture text, if there is any. All right. So now I'm going to go to show, and it's showing up right there over that. Basically how I want it. There's just not a lot of text there, right? And so I'm going to change my view and I'll just add in more text. And we'll say more and more text. All right. And it's centered up. Now it gets a little lost in those mountains because they're a little lighter up there at the top. So I might move it down just a smidge. Actually, let's go back to show. Let's go to the templates. And I'm going to right click on my template that's got the one there. That one represents my text box. I'm going to hit edit and I'm going to move it down just a smidge. So I see those 4 arrows and I can move it down. And then I'm going to put a shadow on this so that it actually shows up a little bit better. Okay. And it's got an offset. It's got a blur to it. And I'm going to offset it a little bit more, maybe. We'll see. And the shadow, we'll make it be a black shadow. And that was actually on the item. Let me do it on the actual text. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So let's turn that up, and let's turn that up. And I don't want it. And so see that little, it's a black shadow that showed up around the box. I don't want a shadow on the box. So I'll turn that off. All I'll do is just reset that and you'll see it go. Let's see here. It should go off when I do that. Perfect. It's gone. Now my text box. Yep. I see the shadow on my text now. So now let's go to show and refresh. And I don't see the text layout. Let me see here. Okay, there we go. So I moved down. I had to update that. And now let's refresh. And you'll see it now. It's a lot easier to see and to play with and to read to some degree, right? For what it is, right? And that's just a random picture. I don't know what this is. Is that like a road? Is that supposed to be a road? I thought it was a river at first, but it looks frozen. So maybe it's a street, maybe a path. Yeah. I don't know if this is a real picture, but you guys can tell me. I don't know. I can't imagine, but that could be real. All right. But I used a template to fit around my image, and that image is tied. Let me change my view back. That image is tied to my slot, to my show, because I dragged it onto the show. So now this show, every time I open it, it's going to always look like that with this template, because I selected this template. That means it's locked into that show. I dragged that image on. That means it's locked into that show. So whenever I close this show or I go to another show, remove the show, add it back, add it to another thing, it's going to be the same way. So I'm going to go out and let's go to another project. And I'm going to add in that background. Let's see it. I'm going to do my quick search. It was called backgrounds and templates, right? So I did my search Command G on a Mac, and it allows you to pop up the quick search. So I found it here and I can select it and it pops up here, right? If I want to drag it into my actual show, I can do it here. Here it is right here, backgrounds and templates. I'm going to just drag it into the show. And I can select it there as well. And there it is. And it looks the same as it did on my other project. It was labeled like July something. All right. So let me see if we got any comments here. Uh-oh, wrong page. Let me see. Let's see here. No comments. What are you guys' thoughts about that? What are your thoughts about using your templates and your backgrounds, I should say, to guide your templates that you make around it, like we've done here. All right. To where you can see that layout show up. All right. Now, the other thing that I think is pretty cool that you can use your creativity for is category actions. We've talked about this a lot already in the past, but category actions are something that you cannot sleep on. And this is an intermediate level discussion, but I want you guys to understand, if you're a beginner, stick with me, because it might be something you can think of right away that makes this a lot more easy for people in your team, even for yourself to comprehend and to use. Now, category actions are unique, and they can be creative because you literally use your categories here as a major part of your process flow using FreeShow. So like I said earlier, I have this training test category, right? I can literally say, every time I show this training test category, I can make an action for it, right? By selecting it here. But first I need to make it. But I can see here, if I select category action, it'll give me a list of all of my created actions, right? So I would say, first, make an action. Let's say, okay, every time I open up, this is really useful, like for songs and for scriptures and for maybe announcements. You might have a folder here called announcements, right? Or a category called announcements, right? So we say new category, we're going to call it announcements. All right. And so every time you all get announcements in from whoever sends the announcements in, maybe you're the one that makes them, maybe somebody sends you an email and you populate them or whatever it is. But whenever you make a show for the announcements, all right, I'm gonna call this, I think I've already got an announcement show actually. So I'm going to close that out. I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to find it, and let's go to all, and I'm going to do a search for, and I went to the right to search, and I didn't spell it right, but there it is. So I got an announcements 1, announcements 2. So I'm going to drag these into here. Boom. Boom. And you might have the same thing. You might have multiple announcement slides. All right. And so now I can clear out my search. I can go here and just select clear search, and I can drag this one up here. Let's see what it looks like. So that one's got some generic stuff with it. Let's drag this one up. I don't know what these are. Okay. That one just says announcements, generic. That's fine. And yours are going to be a lot fancier than this. This one doesn't have any slides with it, right? So I'm not that concerned about this one. So we'll remove that one. But this one looks like that, and this one looks like that. What I would encourage you to do is make a template for your announcements, right? And I say that in terms of make a generic way that you always do your announcements. And maybe some of you all's announcements are always going to be pre-made Canva graphics, right? That would be something that's pretty cool. You can do that. But if it's a pre-made Canva graphic and it's just an image, right? I've seen that where a lot of, like I said, many of you probably do that. You have somebody that makes them, a designer in the church, or somebody that likes to do graphics, and they just send them to you in an email and it's just a bunch of JPEGs. That's perfect. Drag those in, right? And what you can do, there's a category action, is you can set a stage that has an announcement countdown that starts up. So anytime that you're on announcements, it goes to the stage for the announcements team. Okay. That's a creative way to use the category actions, for example, right? Now for songs, you might say, when the songs come up, I want to remove all the overlays. So you make an action and you just make it be a category. You create the action, and then you say, okay, I'm gonna right click on all my songs and I'm gonna make a category action, because when we're singing and worshiping, we don't have any overlays. We don't have any titles come up of who's speaking or anything like that we want to use. So we want to make it to where it clears all the overlays out for every song. Perfectly fine. That would be a creative way to use your category actions. Has anybody used creative ways? I say use. Has anybody been creative, I should say, in the way that they use category actions currently? All right. And we got a question here from Mr. Brian. Please demonstrate a quiz with multiple answers that disappear after prescribed times, which affect the score. A quiz with multiple answers that disappear after a prescribed time, which affects the score. So, Brian, what I would say is, the challenge with that is, I love the idea to demonstrate it. I would have to, and I guess I can just download the new version. Let me do something. I'm going to close out my free show and get the beta version, because that's only available in beta 1.4.9.1 and 1.4.9.2. And I haven't tested out in 4.2, but I've got 4.2, I think. So let me try that. Let me see what it looks like. I'm going to close this, and I'll let you guys see me do my update. Let's see here. In my downloads, 1.4.9.2 beta. All right, so I'm going to install it. This is the 1.4.9.2 beta for Apple ARM 64. All right. And then it pops up this option here. It says, do you want to replace or keep both? I always just say replace, but if you're really testing it out, you're not sure, you can say keep both and then have them separate. I just think that would be confusing for me. I'm not the most brilliant guy, so I'm not going to act like I would be able to manage that. I'll just do replace for now. And I just keep my, I use the same FreeShow icon that's in my, I don't even know what this thing is called at the bottom, but in the bottom of my computer screen, I've got my drawer of sorts that shows all my stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and open up FreeShow, and it's now going to be the 1.4.9 beta. All right. And so you guys can see that, hopefully. And let's see, quiz with multiple answers. Got you. I'm just making sure I can see. Okay, so you guys can see that. I'm going to go ahead and go to admin. This is a new update. It says only continue if you know what you're doing. Choose the admin profile. Yes. All right. Now, this is a taste test of what's crazy creative going with FreeShow. I'm not even going to dive into it, but I can't help myself. But look at this. Like this little button here, that's new. That's crazy cool. The way these are broken out. This is all in beta, so it's not officially done yet. But look at this. Like it just looks a whole lot sleeker and crazier and cooler. Like even here in my variables and stuff. Look at that. I love the way that looks. It's just easier to manage, easier to see. Really, really nice upgrades they're working on. And yeah, that's a whole nother story. I'm not going to go too far into that. All right. So he said game show. So I'm going to show you here. I made a game show variable already. Okay. Now with this game show variable, I got it. It's called game show questions, and it's got 5 different parts to it. And my 5 parts were the question and then 4 possible answers. So if I right click on this and I select the option to edit it, I wanted you to see exactly what it is. And what it did is it created A, B, C, and D is what I selected. And then I made my question. I'm going to show you guys how to make it. We're going to do it from scratch, but I want you to see. And so this is kind of like my template of what everything after this is going to look like. So if I made A, B, C, D with a question, when I select new variable, it's going to just be a number 2 of A, B, C, and D with a question. Number 3 of A, B, C, D with a question, right? It is always going to be the same. And all I'm doing is typing in new content here, and it's going to be labeled number 1, 2, 3, and vice versa. And you can navigate through those. All right. So how does that work in the beta right now? You will select new variable. And Brian, I want you to give me a question that you want to ask, and everybody can chime in. Give me some questions you want with some possible answers. Let's make them Bible questions, all right? Bible questions that you want to ask. All right, put that in the chat. I need to hear them now because I'm gonna start making some up, but I need to hear from you guys. Bible questions with 4 options, all right? And so text set is what you'll see. So this is what we call it now. Instead of it being just the text, the random number, and the number, which we saw earlier, you will now have this thing called a text set. All right. And this text set, you would name it. So I'm going to call this one FreeShow Friday Bible Quiz. I'm waiting on your questions. Make sure to put those in there. All right. So that's what it's going to be called. I'm going to tab down and I'm going to call this one the question. All right. And then I'll add a new variable. And I'm going to make it be the same as I did before. A, and we'll do new variable. And we'll do B. And I'm just putting a period next to mine. I like that. And then we'll do C. And you can make these caps if you wanted to. And D. All right. Now let me check and see what questions we got so far. Oh, I don't see any questions yet. Post your questions. I want to hear some. Type out some questions that you would like to see Bible quiz questions for. I want to hear it. All right. Now, with that being said, here's what I'll do. So the first question I would ask or I would make up is who walked on water? And we'll say, was it John the Baptist? Was it Jeremiah? Was it Judah? Or was it Jesus? All right. Now, I got A, B, C, and D. I can add an E if I select new variable. Okay. But what you want to do now that we've got our template of questions already, we now can say add a set. So now I've added a set and it just pops up the same options I had before. I got to add a question. I still don't see any questions yet. Make sure to put a question in the chat. What question would you want to ask on your Bible quiz? Add to the community. Let us know some good questions we could have. For me, I will say, let's think about another question we can have. Let's see here. Someone said, who were Noah's sons? Okay. Give me the answers. Look, who were Noah's sons? All right. Now, here's what I don't know. I guess you could. I only want to include one of his sons. And I'll just say, who was one of Noah's sons? All right. And so I know all the wrong answers. Oh, I like that. How many stones did David use? Okay. All right. Let's see here. Well, I like that. Yeah, that's a trick one. I like that, Big L. All right. To me, I say trick in terms of how many stones did he use versus how many stones did he have, right? So going back to this one. So who was one of Noah's sons? Give me one. What are they? There was Ham, Japheth, I believe, right? And I don't know how to pronounce their names too well, but we'll say, oh, I got it. I'm going to say Ham. Is it 2 M's on Ham or 1? You got to help me out. Hold me accountable here. I'm going to say chicken. I'm going to say lamb, or what's another kind of meat? I'm not making fun of the Bible. I'm making light of it in the sense of the question itself, but it's not about making fun of the Bible. I'm just trying to make it a simple question for now. Salmon. All right. And then we had another question of how many stones did David use? All right. And we can say 2, 5, 1, or 3. All right. Good question so far. What else you guys got? What else we got? Let's do one more question at least. Who led after Moses died? All right. We could say Abraham. We can say Caleb. We could say Aaron. And we'll say Joshua. All right. All right. So we've got all these questions here. I got just 4 of them. Okay. So question 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we got that. I'm going to close this out. Boom. And it is under all of my variables. And I think I called it FreeShow Friday or something like that, right? Let's see here. FreeShow Friday Bible quiz. I'm going to move, or actually I don't think I can move these in. Let me see. Can I move this in the game show? No, I got to right click on it. So I can right click on it and I can add a tag, call it game show. And so now it's in here, which is perfect. That's fine. Christopher joining us from Norway. What's going on, my friend? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have been very busy. I'm surprised you are awake. You've been working hard. Man. I've seen all the stuff going on in the GitHub and everywhere else. So we're working right now. Someone asked about how to, and I should have changed this over. We're really answering the question, but this is really more like an advanced level. I'm calling this the advanced level discussion, really is what it is. But someone asked about making a game show, which we did in a video this week, but they wanted to, let's see here. What did Brian say? Demonstrate a quiz with multiple answers that disappear after the prescribed times, which affect the score. All right. And so we got the game show quiz. How does this game show quiz work? Let's see. We called it FreeShow Friday Bible quiz. And so they both have 5 options in terms of 5 variables inside of them. And you guys are going to help me out here. So we got 4 different questions that we made. So I can go to the right by clicking next here, and it goes to question 2, question 3, question 4, but nothing happens. We can't see any of that, right? So nothing is visible to us just yet. We have to go to make a new show. For this case, we'll make a new show. We're going to call it FreeShow Friday Bible quiz. And I don't think I have a game. Let's see. I got FreeShow Friday. I might put it in there. We'll see. It would be cool if I can make a new category from here. I don't think we can do that yet. Note to self, Christopher, if that's possible, that would be really cool. How many books in the Bible? I like that one. All right. So we'll put this in the FreeShow Friday for now. All right. And for our show, we'll just do an empty show for now. And the reason we'll do empty shows is because I actually made a template, I believe, called game shows. Let's see. And I was making this from the video we created last time. So that's what this is, right? And so you can see here, I'm gonna add in, well, I don't think I'm gonna use it at all. We'll see. I might make a new one. So I'm making a new slide here. And what we need for our new slide, we'll make a whole new template and everything out the box. We need a text box for our question. That's number one, right? I'm doing it very basic, and you all can be as complex and creative as you want, because it's about creativity, right? So this is what you need basically. You need a box for the question. I like to put my questions at the top. Okay, that's just my typical way of looking at things. I like watching TV shows and game shows, and that's usually where you'll see it, right? But we also need another text box. So I'm going to hold down on that and just hit, I always want to hold down and hit Option to drag it to make it be additional. But I got to right click on it and hit duplicate. And I'm going to right click and duplicate again. Actually, no, I'll just duplicate one, and then we'll duplicate the way I arrange it. All right. So I'm going to drag that down, and we'll put these about like that. All right. So I'm going to put that there. And then we've got this option for more boxes. So I need to do some stuff here to format this. So first thing is, if I right click into this question space, we got to go to our dynamic values, because whenever you make a variable, you're making a dynamic value. All right. So I go to dynamic values, and what I'm looking for is Free Show Friday quiz. All right. And if I go down here, I see we call it FSF. So FSF Bible quiz, here it is. This is the question. So I'm going to select that, and it automatically puts that question in there. And you'll see up on the left that it says the answer, or the question is, who led after Moses died? Okay, that just happens to be the question that we're on. I think that was the last question we typed, but I went all the way to question number 4. So that's why it's showing there. All right. And then in here, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click and I'm going to select dynamic values. And what we're looking for in here is FSF Bible quiz. And I want this to be option A. So here it is down here, FSF Bible quiz A. When I select that, it pops up and it shows up, and you'll see on the top left, it says Abraham, which is our A option. Okay. Now we got to do some formatting to all this. So this one right here, I want to make sure that it does not go outside the box. So I'm going to always turn on auto size. I like the size that it is for now, which is great, but we're going to turn on auto size. And then this one the same way. I need to turn on auto size for that, because I don't want it to run outside of the box that we've created. And the font size, though, I would probably make it be a lot smaller. Let's see. Let's make it 65. Let's see what that does. It doesn't change much, so it's probably smaller than that already. So let's do 45. Okay, so that made it a lot smaller. And I just do this to test out how big it is in that space. So let's do 55. That doesn't look bad. And I'll go all the way up to 65 is the biggest, okay? Which won't be much bigger than this, but it'll be a little bit bigger, all right? And so we got that in here. Now we need to format, what do we want these buttons or these options to look like? And you can get as creative as you want. Like we said earlier, you're going to be creative, you get to be creative. So let's do the text box, or the question box, right? We got that there, and we're going to go to item, and we're going to select the background color for this. We'll make it be orange is pretty bright, but I don't mind it. I like that. And then I like to change my corner radius to be a little rounded, and let's put a border on it. And I don't know, I like the generic white border, which is pretty cool. But you know, for the background color, a gradient is pretty cool too. So let's see, we got an orange gradient in here. I like that one, but I probably would go with something more custom. So let's do, instead of it being linear, let's do radial. And let's make this one get burgundy's not bad. I don't think I'll do burgundy though. Let's do a custom color. I want it to be like a rich orange. Something like that. I like that. All right. All right. So that's good. And we got this radio, which is good. And then this, we'll make it be 20. No, we'll make that be 75. All right. And then this one, I want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to say choose custom, and I'm going to bring it over. Not that far, maybe to there. All right. Hit enter. And that's locked in. All right. So that's a better gradient for me. I like that. It's more visible, which is what I want. I want it to show up. All right. Now we got to do the same thing for our buttons for the options. I'm going to make this one button and customize it how we want, and then I'm going to duplicate it, right? So what we'll do is I'll go here and let's look at how we want this to be arranged and the color we want. So for me, I like gradients. Let's go to a gradient. Let's see if we got one that we like here. Let's see. That's kind of funky. Too bright though for what we're going for. Let's see what this one looks like. That one's funky as well. I like that, but I like radios as well. I'm learning about myself. I like radios. I don't want it to be the same color though. Let's do, that one looks pretty sharp. Let's go back to this one. And I wonder, no, I don't like that. Let's go with this one. Let's see what it looks like if we change it to be a radio. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Let's see. I would probably make this be, so it's 4 colors in there. Let's make this one be a little bit darker. Let's go here, custom. Maybe something like that. And then this one the same way. I want it to be a little bit darker so we can see our text a little better. I'm just going to bring it down like that. All right. I can work with that. All right. So we'll say done. It's pretty funky, kind of psychedelic, or like a, what's that thing when you make a tie-dye? Reminds me of a tie-dye. All right. And so we got that. I want it to be rounded as well. So we'll do, what was the corner radius on this one? This one's pretty big. Let's set 5. This one we'll do 4. It doesn't look too bad at 4. And then I'll do the border as well. Turn it up. We'll make it be like that. All right. And I'm just looking at my preview on the left side there. All right. So we got our question. We got our answer. This is just answer A. So now I need to put in, I'm going to right click on this. We're going to duplicate it. And I need to make 3 more. So I'm going to duplicate 3 times. All right, now I'm going to drag them over, and I like the little lines. I can see exactly if it's in line or not. And then this one, I'm going to pull it down. We're going to pull this one down like that. And then we'll do the same thing with this one here. I'm going to put it in line with these. Line it up sideways and top to bottom. So they're perfectly aligned, right? But they all have answer A as the option. So they all say Abraham. We don't want that. We want this one to be actually answer B. I guess, do they go left to right, you guys? Do they go side to side, or do they go top to bottom? I think they go left to right, typically. So I'm gonna do left to right, unless you guys tell me otherwise. And so I'm going down in dynamic values. I right clicked on that, and I'm going to option B. So it's Caleb. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. I'm gonna select all this, delete that out, and right click and select dynamic values. And I'm gonna go to option C. And I'm gonna delete this one out because I don't want that. I don't want the A dynamic value. We want the D in this case. So I'm going to dynamic values, scroll all the way down to my variables. That's what this is. We're looking for D, and it shows up. And so now we got all our different options there. All right. So what I did when I made this before was I needed to make sure that it changed. And it was the challenge was the timer, right? So I think, let's see here. He wanted to answers to disappear after a prescribed time. All right. And so the interesting thing about that, if you want the answers to disappear, Brian, tell me, why do you want the answers to disappear? Like, do you want it to show up for a certain amount of time and then go away so that people don't get to look at it for a long time? Or you want it to go away to go to the next question, if that makes sense? Let me know, Brian. I'm curious. let me know what you think about that. In the meantime, I'm going to put in that other question you said. So I'm going to go back to my functions. And we got our Free Show Friday Bible quiz. I can right click on that and go to edit. And how do we make a fifth option or fifth question? We just say add set down at the bottom. And what it does, it gives our question, our A, B, C, and D. All right. And so you said how many books are in the Bible? All right. So we can say, I'm going to say 24, 50, 66, and then I'm going to go a clean 100. All right. And so if we wanted to add another set, we can add, 10, 15, 20 questions, whatever you want to add. It's up to you. But you can just keep hitting add set. And as long as you've got, you can go and do a search for, random Bible questions if you wanted to, and look those up, or have people on your team, people from the youth group, people from the leadership submit questions that they want. The cool thing to me about it is having those kind of questions related to the topic of the service or the sermon, right? So that would be something to be pretty cool. If you got the insight, you can ask those questions, and they would be cool for a preview, for the pre-announcements and countdown, and for the post, right? So you can show that after service as well, and it'll help kind of keep people reminded as well. All right, so now I'm going to tab out, and I'm going to close that. So we got 5 questions now. And you don't see an option that says 5. That 5 there represents the variables that we have. So there's 5 variables in there, but you can tell there's more because it's got a next button, and now the next goes away, meaning you're on your last question already. All right. And so I can keep going back over, and I can go all the way to question number 1. All right, which was who walked on water. So now if we go back to our show and I select this, we'll see our question. Now, this one right here is cutting off. So it says John the Baptist, and it's not fully fitting in there. Let's double check and make sure we got that set properly. Oh, let me refresh, because it's showing up fine here, but it shows up like that on the preview, which is weird. On here, it's showing up just fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to my templates. I'm not going to change that there, but I'm going to edit this real quick, and I'm going to make this into a template. But let's do a padding, at least of 2. We'll do 5 for each of these. Because I don't want them to go all the way to the edge of the box there. And that one was going all the way to the edge. All right, let's see what it looks like now. If we refresh. So it shrunk it down just a bit, and it fits in there pretty good now. The way I would expect it to, at least. I don't want it to touch the edge, but I want that padding. That padding helps you get a little bit of a border around your boxes so you don't have that issue, okay? Which is really cool. All right, now we got that, but what we don't have right now is the A, B, C, and D, okay? So we need to add in A, B, C, and D or whatever, just kind of like I did here. I've got that same option here. Oh, Brian says he wants them to come in one at a time. Ooh, that's fun. All right. That's a good challenge. That's a new challenge for me. I didn't think about that. Christopher, if you got answers, let me know. The longer it takes you, the lower your score. Oh. Oh. The longer it takes you? I guess the question is, like, they can't interact with this, so how will you know how long it took them would be my question. So I don't know that we can do that part, but yeah, because you would have to be there to pause the time maybe to make sure it stops. I don't know. That's my guess. But I like the idea of them coming in at a certain time, and I think we can do that with some conditions, right? So let's think about that. But let me put in my ABCD real quick. Let's do items. I'm just going to add a random text box. We're going to shrink that down to be off to the side here. And you can do these however you want to. For me, I'm just doing it to where it's like a just the A on the side of it, of the answer. Oh, okay, there we go. And it shows up there. And I want this to be there. I guess I want it to auto size, but it doesn't need to get too much smaller. I'm just putting one letter in there each time. And so we'll right click, we'll duplicate this 3 times. I'm gonna drag this one over to where it's right close to it like the other one is. It's not quite touching. I'm just trying to make them universal so they look the same. That spacing in between the box and the letter. All right. Pull this one down. And that one's easy because it lines up perfectly. And then we're going to pull this one. Remember, I made 3 copies or 3 duplicates. So they all are there. They're just stacked on top of each other. And I do the same thing, lining them up, and they're all there. But this one needs to say B. This one needs to say C. And this one needs to say D. All right. So we got those there. So we got our options. I'm going to refresh. And you'll see A, B, C, and D. Now the question was, or the thought was to make these show up at a certain time. Oh, that's gonna be fun, Brian. This is a good challenge. If I look, I'm gonna see if I got time. I got to get out of here before 1, my time. But we're gonna do everything we can to try to get that figured out. So now I'm gonna go to my functions. We need a timer. So we definitely need a timer. I'm gonna put the timer down here at the bottom. Okay, and we got timers here, and I think I made one. Here's one, a game show, 20-second. We'll do the 20-second one. And so I'm going to go over here to my items, and I'll add a timer, and let's select the timer, and then we'll pick the timer. Game show 20 seconds is what we want. And I'm going to move it down here. Now, here's the cool thing to me about the timers. All right. I'm going to bring it all the way out. I learned this the other day about the timers that I like. And I'm going to make this timer be like a bar. Instead of it being the actual number. Well, actually, no, we'll keep the number there. We'll keep the number there. I'm just going to duplicate it. So we'll duplicate it, and I'm going to drag this down just below it. All right. And we'll make this be a bar. All right. Now, you guys are probably wondering, what in the world is he doing? Here's the deal. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to go over to the type, and it says time. I'm going to make it be a line. All right. And then I can pick what color I want that line to be, and I want it to be we don't get the options for the gradients there, so I'm gonna make it just be an orange line. All right, so we got this orange thing going on, and when that timer starts, this line is going to start to shrink and go down as well, which adds a little bit of not suspicion, but suspense. I'm sorry. Let's see here. One time, the longer it takes you, the longer. Okay, so they'll be able to see it, kind of the time dwindling down, along with the actual counter going down as well. Okay. All right, so we got that done. Now we got to put in a condition because you said, hey, we want this to be shown at a certain point. So I'm going to go to conditions, and we want this. This says allow. So show the item if. All right. So we got this option now for timers. If not first active timer. Let's see here. Where's my game show? Did I miss it? Okay. Game show 20 seconds. Not if it's running. Is, I guess we got to say below. Okay. Is below 19 seconds. All right. We'll do that one. And we'll say, okay, close that. This one, we'll give it another condition. Same idea. If the timer for the 20 seconds is below, all right. And we'll say, I don't think we can do points, but let's do 18. Let's see if we can do 17.5. Yeah, it just goes to 18. All right, so that's cool. So we'll say that one is going to show up then, and then this one is going to show up after that. Oh, I had dynamic values by just at the top of my head. All right, so let's go back. We're going to select conditions here, and we're going to select variable is a timer. Show it if the timer, which the one we want is our 20-second game show, is below. And we'll make this one be 17 seconds. Oh. All right. And then this one, conditions, 16 seconds for the timer. All right. And we're just making a new game show based on a request. So let's do this one at 16. Boom. All right, Brian says disappearing at certain times. Start with all four. Okay, as answers disappear, it narrows the choices. Oh. Oh, okay. So what you wanted to do is to show the final answer when it's all said and done. Gotcha. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting. So let's take some synchronization for that, because what we have to do is, before we do that, I would have to synchronize each one to be on a separate slide. Because remember, this is just a variable set. Okay, this variable set, it doesn't have a specific, it's just a set. The variables are going to change no matter what. Okay, so let's undo that. Let me change it, because what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, we need the right answer to be the last option standing, is what I'm understanding. If that's right, let me know. Hold on just a sec. But I like what you're I see what you're saying now. So we would have to customize that individually. That would be a fun challenge. So this will be a little bit different than using the variable sets. We really wouldn't even need the variable sets, because we can do this by just making generic, options and answers. And that probably would be easier, to be honest with you. So let's do that to show what he's talking about. I'm gonna show you guys what this created though. Let's see here. So we go to the show. I'm gonna say clear all. And if we go in and we play this, here's what I expect to happen. Let's do primary. Yeah, I'll show it to you guys like this so you guys can see it. All right. And this is not showing up updated. So let's update that. Hold on. All right. So when we select this show, I selected it. It ain't doing what I thought. So it's not, the conditions didn't do anything. At least not what I expected them to do. But the timer is moving. You guys see the little block moving, which is cool. All right. And so let's look and see what happened with our conditions. Let's go back to edit. Let's right click on this and see what's going on. Conditions, show item if the game show 20 seconds is below 19 seconds. And since it's counting down, I think that's what it's got to be, right? Below. Allow show item if allow all of the following conditions are met. Yeah, that's interesting. Anybody help me out? So Christopher, if you're still there, let me know, why wouldn't that work? Or at least, maybe I need to refresh. Let me see. Let's go back and do it again. I'll try refreshing again. Let's see. And let me reset the game show. Quit. Nope, it's still not doing it. And I'm looking for those to pop up to show when it gets below a certain time. Interesting. He says you can do that. Do it without separate slides. I recommend adding new options in the text set. Oh, second remove and so on. So you are left with the correct one. That way it's dynamic. Oh, that's cool. I like that, Christopher. But first, tell me, why is it not showing up with the conditions that I created? That would be my first question. I'll synchronize that with conditions, if that makes sense. It does, but I'm with the conditions piece, I'm still having an issue with that. Yeah, I'm thinking I did it right, but I could be wrong. And it may be just because it's a beta. I don't know. But what Christopher said, if we go back, okay, and if you guys don't know, Christopher is the developer. He's the man. So we're going to go to our free show. We're going to go to our game show, and then the free show Friday Bible quiz. If I right click on that, and as a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll make, so what he was saying is we need to make a new variable. We're going to call it first removed, and then another new variable, second removed, another new variable, third removed. Oh, all right. And then we'll make another one just called correct, and that one won't get removed. All right, now I can get rid of these, but I'm gonna copy these answers out. So who walked on water? Copy. I'll make that one be the last one removed because that's the one that people probably think of first. I'm gonna copy Judah. That'll be the first one to remove. Copy Jeremiah. That'll be the next one to remove. And then Jesus is the correct answer. All right, so now I can get rid of these. So I'm gonna trash these out. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I have my answers in there, but I'll go back and check these out. So let's see here. Who was one of Noah's sons? I'm gonna copy this one out real quick. Copy, and we'll make that one be the last one removed. And then we'll call this one, I don't remember what I put in here. I'll make this say steak. And then nobody told me, is ham spelled with 2 M's, you guys? Or is it 1 M? I think it's 2 M's. I'm gonna make it be 2 M's. All right, first removed. How many stones did David use? We'll do the last one to remove. We're gonna say the correct answer is 1 is what he used. Let's see here. We'll do, I think it was 1. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. 2, and we'll make 5 be here. And we'll make 2 be there. All right. And then Aaron, Joshua, who led after Moses died? We got Aaron. And this is just cleanup, so you guys won't really deal with this too much. But what he was talking about was a really cool way to do it. So we'll say Aaron, I think we said, we'll do Caleb. And who else did I say? Because I deleted half of them, unfortunately. Caleb, and let's do Joseph. Well, he did lead after them, so I'm going to take that. No, he didn't. He led before them. That's good. That's good. All right. And then this end is correct answer 66. We'll make this be 100. We'll make this be 50 and 24. I'll put 24 here. All right. So now I can go up here and I can remove these extra answers. All right. So now it's first removed, second removed, third removed, and then the correct answer stays there. That's going to be fun. And I don't know how this is going to work, but this is going to be fun. All right. So, oh, dang. He says you want to keep the ABCD, but type in A in the removed options. Oh, I messed that up. Let me see. So keep the questions as you had it and type, for example, first remove, period, C. Sounds like you're going to have me doing some coding here, Christopher. But, if I do this, can I still work with what I've got? If I go in there and I, let me remove that. It won't let me remove that. So if I keep this like it is for now, let's see. And I know I got to go back and change my variables, but where would that first removed in the C stuff come in? It would be my question. The issue with what you did is that the answer is always the same place. Gotcha. And so how would so with the labels, so if let's scrap, I don't want to scrap it. Let's keep this here, but I'm gonna put, so I need to put in, you said put first remove, and then you said put, I'm gonna say, say first, let's see here. A, like that? Or do I need to put those quotes around it? Do I need to put that in there like that? Let me know. All right. And then if I said second removed, and let's see here, he says you can do it without separate slides. I recommend adding new options in the text set. So on, so you are left with the correct one. That way it's dynamic. That makes sense. I get that part. I don't understand this part though. So help me out with that part. I'm just putting it in. I'm gonna keep typing until you tell me otherwise. All right. So we got that. And third remove. Oh, that won't make sense either though. I'm gonna keep the ABCD, but type in the removed options. I just don't know where the removed options are that you're talking about. I can probably try to do Brian's request myself and post it on the Reddit. How I did it might be somewhat advanced. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be somewhat advanced just because you're the man. So I'll leave that up to you to help out with. But in the meantime, that is a possibility is what I'm hearing you say, which is great. So Brian, it is a possibility. Christopher's going to help us figure that part out. I kind of botched it up here, so it's not going to work this way really well. But we also, once he does show us what it takes, I want to know how he got that to show up the conditions, because the conditions are acting up for me right now for some reason. But the other cool part about this, whenever you get done, whenever you figure it out, one thing to remember is you can always drag down your item and make it an actual template. So I put it, I was in my templates and I dragged down that show or that slide and I made it a template. So now I can always pull it back up pretty easily with all those features built into it. Okay. Now, like I said, I didn't figure out the conditions part yet, but that'll be figured out soon enough. So keep an eye out on the Reddit page and we'll figure out how we can make that work. With that being said, what time is it? It's 12:30. What I wanted to make sure we do, so we got to get to figuring out FreeShow. All right. And I don't know why that's not showing up here, but let's go to figuring out FreeShow variables. FreeShow Friday topics. And we're going to go to some online progress is what I'll call it. All right. And so when we talk about using FreeShow, one of the main things that we have to understand that this is a community. This is an open source platform. And so what that means is there are people that are constantly contributing to this. And so if you ever go to github.com/churchapp/freeshow/issues, you'll get there. You can get to there also from, I think from the website is how I probably originally got here, but you'll be able to see the latest running items of questions, enhancement ideas, and so forth and so on. And some cool things here. So like settings for the user interface. Here's some feedback that somebody left, right? And so this is from the beta 2 that Christopher came out with some suggestions. And then let's see here. There's some other thoughts about moving those things that are on the bottom right in the settings over to the left or somewhere else. This is a good place to go. Now, the cool thing I like to do is I like to go here and I like to look at closed. Okay, we got the open items and we got the closed items. And for figuring out FreeShow, it's helpful for us to figure out the actual closed items because they have answers to them, right? And so let's see, automatic text resizing for Bible verses, user interface Bible feedback, background image, that's fine. Check for updates button. That was a question. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So I'm going off the top of my head, but I don't think FreeShow has a check for updates button. I know you can toggle alert for new updates, then restart the app. I think a check for updates button would help, maybe somewhere. And so Christopher responded, says you can see the auto update progress in the console, but I don't know if I know of any easy way to change that. It should probably alert when finished if it doesn't. All right. So if you go to, he said, if you go to the help about and check for updates, is there. So if we go back into FreeShow and we go up to the top and we hit help, let's see here, about, and we got an option here that says look for updates. Now, if you're looking to figure out when the updates or if there's updates out, this is the best place to go. Just go to the help, go to about, and then select updates. This is a very, very cool way to check for those updates. And it's there, made in Norway by Christopher Vasbo. 2021 is how old FreeShow is. So that's something that's pretty cool as well. And then it also has the assets that he used. So you can see here, like I said, it's open source. So he's showing everything. It says, please check out more information, more of our applications to report an issue. This is how you would get to the GitHub page that I was just on. If you want to help translate, they would love some help with that. And consider supporting church apps, which is the partnership that they have with they've got the rights to the FreeShow program, and they're using it to help support ministries all over the world. So keep that in mind. So that was one thing that we saw, or we can see here. If you had other ways to look for those, let me go back here. So this is in GitHub. Another place you can go is in the FreeShow Reddit page. All right. So if I go here, if you ever use Reddit, right? Some of you all may prefer to use Reddit. Feel free to do that. You can do that and you'll see some different things, different questions, different thoughts, different ideas. So this one says low end PC troubles. And I can totally understand if it's not worth addressing, but this person had a question about how they can make the most of FreeShow when using a very low end computer, in terms of one that's not spec'd out with the latest and greatest, processors and graphics cards and things like that, which is completely understandable. And so let's see what the answers were. So someone talked about this type of computer here, and they said it was pretty old. And here's a few things to try. Make sure the performance mode is on the computer. Let's see here. And then lower the resolution of your output is another thing you could do. Use fewer outputs and do not use NDI, along with play lower resolution videos, and then toggle the hardware acceleration option in FreeShow, right? And then let's see here. Try toggling disable hardware acceleration in the other and check out this. So turn off the hardware acceleration, basically, is what Christopher is saying here. That would help. And then they said somebody said they purchased a used M1 Apple Mac Mini. All right. And it was less than $300. So if you're looking for a good deal on a computer, this person says, hey, they bought one of those and it runs FreeShow perfectly fine. It's smooth, it's silk. It says the remote is very responsive with no delays. The M1 has a limitation of only 2 video outputs, which I completely understand. Those video outputs can be a challenge, but let me pull out something. Hold on. To fix the video output issue. Hold on. I'm just pulling out my device. I've got it plugged up, so I got to unplug it. The Orion split extender. Sorry about the noise and all that stuff, but this device here will allow you to you can plug it up with USB regular or USB-C. And I'm only pointing it out because I bought one myself and I love it. It works perfectly fine and it solved my problem because my laptop has a screen and it allows me to output to 2 outputs. This adds 4 more outputs to what my laptop can do. All right. And you can see the 4 HDMI. So if you use HDMI, at least it'll allow you to do 4 HDMI outputs, and you can turn them on and off with the little buttons on the screen there. And you can plug it up to your computer through one of your USB ports on the computer, which I use an actual USB-C adapter or a dongle. and it works out fine that way. But getting the M1 for less than $300, and then this device itself, it costs about $100, right? 100 US dollars. So you can be able to get a pretty decent device to run your software, FreeShow and even more, for less than 500 for sure, but closer to like $400 if you can, $400 US, if you can find a deal like they did for the Apple M1 Mini, which is really cool. And then the person said they're not comfortable with Apple products, which is fine. You still can do the same thing with a Windows computer with this device, right? So you can definitely still use a device like this with Windows or Apple, and it should work the same, where it extends your displays. It gives you plenty more, all right? What questions do you guys have for me? What questions do you have for me? Before I let you go, it's 12:37 now, my time. But hopefully that gives you some ideas. So we just went in and we looked at someone that had a low-end PC and they were trying to figure out some things, and then also how to figure out how to see and check for updates in FreeShow. And we got the answer there. Just go to the help and go to the about at the top. All right. And in here, you'll see an option to look for updates. And when you click that, it actually takes you to the website where the downloads are. And you'll be able to see the downloads. And then you can select download here. I like to go up here to see downloads. And this is how you can also see the betas, right? So if you go to the top and click on downloads and then select see all releases, you'll be able to see the 149 beta 2 and the 149 beta 1. All right. And this one introduced the text sets that I was working with earlier for the game show piece. And then 148, this is the stable, fully released, fully launched one. They improved the quick search. I cannot speak enough about how cool the quick search is. Make sure you're using the quick search by hitting Command and G on your computer. And when you do that, what it does, when you're in FreeShow, Command G pops up that. So if you wanted to look up variables, you can literally just type that in from this quick search, and it gives you the option to go to your variables. It pulled up an action that I made called change variable, but it also has one here that's a new variable option. That little plus sign represents a new variable. And then there's a video here that's called the secret power of variables. So you can use that as a tip sheet or a tutorial to help you real time in the app. And I say in the app, it'll take you to YouTube, but it'll open up a video that walks you through the secret power of variables. And then it pulls up any of your shows that have variable in it as well. All right. So that would be my recommendations for doing a quick search and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you learned a lot about using FreeShow, and hopefully you are excited about using it as much as I am. Sorry I couldn't get that game show piece figured out, but I'll be playing with it as well. I know Christopher's going to work on that. I'll play with it. I got to wrap my mind around. I can't wrap my mind around the way Christopher's mind is way, way different than mine. So the way he thinks about it is really cool. So he's going to come at it from a perspective to really solve the problem in a way that is really unbelievable. For me, I'm looking at it and saying, okay, well, how does it work? And I want to do it at face value and then figure out from there, allow other people to kind of develop ideas around it. So let me know your thoughts about it. Yeah, quick SBU media, quick search is great. It's a game changer. I love it. I use search more in FreeShow now because of quick search, along with, I like to use the side search too. I like to use the side search when I'm looking for something in my shows or something like that to drag into my project. But if I'm just looking for one to just play, quick search lets you just play it really easily, which I love. All right. But yeah, I'm excited about where FreeShow is going. Like I said, I know for me, I was going to name this topic today, FreeShow is getting crazy. That'll have to be another day. Once the 149 is not in beta anymore, you guys are going to see, I showed you a glimpse of it. You can see it right now. This is some of the stuff. It looks just really cool, right? So you can see it's got the new layout button here. It's got this option here that this is dynamic and it pops out instead of sitting there the whole time. It's a lot of cool stuff, and it's getting, is in my words, like a lingo thing. I say it's getting scary, right? It's getting scary in a good way, right? Meaning that it is changing things. Things are changing in a very positive way, and I like where it's going. And it's really, really cool. So Christopher, thank you so much for what you do with the program. I know it's only going to get better. I know there's a lot of folks that are contributing. Thank you to those that are contributing. And then thank you guys for being users that are at least interested in learning more about Free Show. That's what this channel is all about, is learning more about the program. And just like you guys, I'm a learner as well. And so hopefully you can grow from the videos. Don't just stay with what I put in there, but actually develop it even more. Take it to the next level and leave a comment to tell me what you did to make it even better. All right, with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. And God bless you all.